He has called Donald Trump an idiot, reprehensible. He even said that he never really liked the guy, and he made headlines after explaining the cultural phenomenon that led to the election of Donald Trump in his best-selling memoir, Hillbilly Elegy.
But Senator J.D. Vance has not only changed the tune about Trump over the years, he praises Trump quite a bit. He's saying he was a, quote, effective and successful president that brought, quote, peace and prosperity. So now he's campaigning for him up in New Hampshire.
Republican Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, joins us now. Senator, good to have you with us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So, you know, I want to start with how you say Trump brought peace and prosperity. Those are your words. So, all right, the economy was pretty solid, you know, but the insurrection was far from peaceful. So how do you reconcile that? And what makes you so sure that if Trump were to lose the election again, there wouldn't be another insurrection and he wouldn't call the results rigged?
Well, the reason I say that Trump delivered peace and prosperity is that he did. I mean, you call it an insurrection. I think that's a gross overstatement of what happened on January the 6th. And I think that people are ready to move beyond January the 6th and focus on the future. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what Donald Trump is trying to do. And I think that's what the American people deserve. We have to remember that between October the 7th in Israel, the war in Ukraine, chaos in the Red Sea, we have an extraordinarily chaotic world when Joe Biden promised peace and a return to normalcy. This is not a return to normalcy. This is a return to disaster politics on the global stage. And I think the one guy who actually delivered some semblance of calm was Donald Trump. We got to send him back to the White House and hopefully re-deliver that for the American people.
You know, all right, I'll give you one thing about calm. If you watch his town hall in Iowa, he seemed to stay on point. He did appear more calm, more measured. He didn't spend the whole time talking about retribution and witch hunts. So as a supporter of him, now that you're campaigning for him, how do you keep him on point like that? That was a different Donald Trump.
I don't feel like I need to keep Donald Trump on point. I think Donald Trump needs to deliver the message that only he can deliver, which is I actually had a peaceful and prosperous country for 4 years, and we can do it again. It's really not rocket science here. I mean, if you look at what's going on at the southern border, you just need a president who's willing to stop that. If you see all of the people dying of fentanyl overdoses in this country, you need a person who's willing to send in the enforcements to say, we're not going to let this crap come into our country. We have such an incredible country, but it's being destroyed by all of these intersecting crises that are being delivered by President Joe Biden. I don't think we need to keep Donald Trump on point. I think we need to get Donald Trump out there to tell the story that we can have a peaceful and prosperous country once again if we just get better leadership.
And part of that leadership might be you, I guess, Senator. Donald Trump Jr., he's brought up your name as one of the people he'd love to see as his dad's running mate. And we've heard other Republicans argue that would be a good idea. So, do you want it?
Look, I appreciate Don Jr. throwing my name out there. My attitude is very simple. I want to be a good ally for the President of the United States and actually re-delivering him to the White House. There's a lot that I can do in the United States Senate for the people of Ohio, the people who elected me, and also I think for the Trump agenda in 2025 and beyond. One of the things that really bothered me, and frankly one of the things that changed my mind about Donald Trump, is that he never had allies in the Republican Party who were trying to close down the border, who were trying to fight back against the loss of good manufacturing jobs to China. He needs that, and I think that's one of the things that I can do, and if I do it, and do it well, and I plan to, I think I'll be a great servant for the people of Ohio over the next 5 years.
All right, so let me just follow up on that. That's not a no, but I'm not going to press you on it. But let's say you were in that position. You know, one of the reasons we're having this discussion is because obviously Mike Pence isn't on the ticket because he wouldn't do what Donald Trump told him to on January 6th. He decided that the vice president under the Constitution did not have the authority to set aside votes. Do you agree with that? Or would you have agreed with Trump? Would you have done what Trump asked?
Look, Terry, I know that you guys are really preoccupied with talking about January the 6th here, but I think it's important to focus on the future, which is what Donald Trump is trying to do and what I'm trying to do. If you guys are so preoccupied with January 6th, I'm happy to answer the question. Here's the fundamental issue. We have a constitutional process.
We are talking about the future.
Well, I'm trying to... Let me answer the question. We have a constitutional process for challenging election results in this country. That's all that was happening on the run-up to January the 6th. President Trump was making an argument that there were problems and there are ways to deal with those problems constitutionally. You guys act like Donald Trump was about to cross the Potomac River with the 1st Marine Division. It's craziness. Nobody actually buys it. And I think most Americans see this as a distraction from the question of how do we deliver peace and prosperity over the next few years.
He went against all legal advice that he was given. He went against all legal advice, and also advisors told him not to act on powers that they pointed out that he just didn't have, and he did it anyway.
Well, he didn't go against all legal advice, because I know a number of lawyers who think the president was justified in the run up to January the 6th. But again, I just find this so interesting. I've answered your question about January the 6th. I've answered your question about how to deal in a constitutional manner with disputed election results. The Constitution is big enough to handle these conversations and these questions, but you guys are constantly returning to January the 6th because you know you can't talk about the future. I would like to ask Joe Biden, how do you plan to deliver lower inflation? How do you plan to redeliver a world that's at peace? Those are the questions the American people should focus on. Again, I'm happy to talk about January the 6th all day.
No, we can talk about the future. We've got the border to talk about. We've got ongoing wars to talk about.
Senator, thank you for that. January 6th is kind of a big deal. But aside from that, let's look to the future. Let's look to the problem of immigration, the crisis on the border, which is so important, and which Donald Trump has a specific plan for. He wants the largest mass exportations of people from this country in history. He refers to the Eisenhower, quote, Operation Wetback plan. 1.3 million people were deported. He wants to build large detention camps with money from the military budget. You like those ideas?
Well, look, if people come into this country illegally, you either have to let them stay here or you have to deport them. It's really common sense. And if you're not willing to deport some of the people who come here illegally, you're not actually ready and willing to enforce the American southern border. We have to be honest about the choices that we're confronting as a country. I saw a story just a couple of days ago. An innocent young girl was raped by an illegal alien who had been let back into this country multiple times. Do I want to deport those people? Absolutely, I want to deport those people. And I think that's the only rational immigration policy for our country. Now, we also have to accept that we could stop the flow of additional people right now. We have probably 30 million illegal aliens in this country. Joe Biden is paroling 1 million illegal aliens a year into this country. The last Democratic administration, Barack Obama, paroled 5,000. This is a crisis of Joe Biden's making. We should be asking tough questions of President Biden. Why did you let this happen, rather than attacking Donald Trump for actually having a plan to deal with the crisis that he will inherit, because I think he's going to win the presidency.
All right, let's talk about Trump's strong suit, you say, is foreign policy. We have the Israel-Hamas war going on, the escalating conflicts throughout the Middle East, Putin's war in Ukraine. How will Trump get a handle on all of that, Senator? Will Hamas, Netanyahu, even Putin all listen to Trump? And would any of these wars happen, do you think, if Trump were president?
No, I don't think the wars would have happened if Donald Trump was president. Here's something I'm going to tell you that I really have heard in the United States Senate over the last year. I've even heard it from some of my Democratic colleagues, that leaders on the world stage respected Donald Trump. They actually recognized that if they did the wrong thing, Trump might respond in a way that was commensurate with the offense. I think that's one of the reasons why Russia didn't invade one of its neighbors during the Trump administration. It's one of the reasons why we had the Abraham Accords, actually bringing Israelis and Arabs together for the first time in a generation. So yeah, I think President Trump can address all of these crises, but it really does require strong leadership. And this is really important. It requires a desire to engage in diplomacy. The attitude of Democrats, and I hate to say it, far too many Republicans, is that we can warmonger our way out of every crisis. Sometimes you need a person who's willing to do some statesmanship. You may not like the way that he does it, but Donald Trump is the only person I think who's given diplomacy a real shot in the last generation of foreign affairs in this country.
Well, it has been said that Trump has said some pretty crazy things in his time. If you're dealing with someone like Putin or Hamas or other types that, well, North Korea, sometimes they scare each other. And it will be interesting to watch what happens as we move forward. J.D. Vance, appreciate your time.
Thank you, Senator.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.